Today on Rappler. The Commission on Elections orders Misamis Oriental Governor Peter Unabia to explain sexist and discriminatory remarks on the campaign trail. Russian vlogger Vitaly will not be deported yet to face legal consequences in the Philippines. Protesters gather across U.S. cities to oppose President Trump and Elon Musk's government overhaul. Pope Francis makes a surprise appearance at the Vatican after being discharged. And Marcos Adoro withdraws from the upcoming project of Eraserheads amid abuse allegations. The Commission on Elections gives Misamis Oriental Governor Peter Unabia 3 days to explain why a formal disqualification petition should not be filed against him following sexist and discriminatory remarks he made in campaign rallies in his province. Muslim and women's rights groups also condemned his remarks as perpetuating harmful stereotypes about people from the Bangsamoro region and women. Comelec's Task Force SAFE notes that in one rally, Unabia said the capital's nursing scholarship program is only for, quote, beautiful women. In a separate campaign rally, Unabia also presented a slideshow warning voters against candidates with ties to Maranao politicians. Critics have stated that the comments undermine efforts to foster inclusivity and respect, particularly in Mindanao, which has faced decades of conflict and is still healing from its effects. In an order, the task force cites a Comelec resolution which upholds the anti-discrimination and fair campaigning guidelines. It also cites a Supreme Court ruling that defines discrimination against women, gender-based harassment, and labeling as election-related offenses. Unabia says he was quoted out of context and was merely raising awareness about local safety concerns. Meantime, a video clip of aspiring Camarines Sur Governor El Rey Villafuerte's sexually suggestive pickup lines resurfaces. Villafuerte defended his pickup line, saying it had been a long-standing practice since 2010. To help you make the best decision of who to vote for, we have all the information you need in one place, the Rappler election site. From comprehensive election guides and explainers to profiles of candidates both national and local, we bring you a newsfeed of all the latest updates on voters' issues and campaign moments. Check it out at ph.rappler.com. Interior and Local Government Secretary DILG Remulla says that Russian vlogger Vitaly will not be deported yet, so he can face the consequences of his actions under Philippine law. Remulla says Vitaly will be detained by the Bureau of Immigration as a, quote, undesirable alien. This days after he was arrested on April 3 and said to have been awaiting deportation proceedings.
May dumating dito na isang Ruso na Amerikano na hinahamak ang ating pagkatao bilang Pilipino. Hinahamak ang ating mga batas.
Remulla also recounts the inappropriate actions the vlogger committed against a security guard in BGC who reportedly filed a police blotter report with the PNP. He adds that they are still looking for the cameraman who helped Vitaly record his content. He also urges lawmakers to modify the cyber libel law to stop vloggers, both local and foreign, from making disruptive content in the country.
Dapat to kumplito at the expense of others, at the expense of Filipinos, at the expense of everyone's dignity. Ay pinagkakitaan nila, ay dapat panagutan naman nila.
Thousands of protesters gathered in Washington, D.C. and states across the U.S. on April 5 to oppose President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk's government overhaul. Protests were planned in all 50 U.S. states, plus Canada and Mexico, with a total of 1,200 demonstrations altogether. Trump shook financial markets and upset allies with a raft of trade tariffs last week. More than 400 demonstrators gathered just a few miles from where Trump was spotted playing a round of golf in Florida. With Trump's blessing, Musk's Department of Government Efficiency team eliminated more than 200,000 jobs from the 2.3 million federal workforce. Several hundred people gathered outside the Social Security Administration headquarters in Baltimore to protest against cuts to the agency, which delivers benefits to the elderly and disabled. Much of Trump's agenda has been restrained by lawsuits, contending he has overstepped his authority with attempts to fire civil servants, deport immigrants, and reverse transgender rights. Pope Francis makes his first public appearance after being discharged from the hospital 2 weeks ago, where he was treated for double pneumonia. He enters St. Peter's Square in a wheelchair to greet the crowd on Sunday, April 6. The Pope comes out in the square just before noon after a mass for the Catholic Church's Jubilee year. Pope Francis waves to the crowds before speaking briefly.
Buona domenica a tutti. Grazie tante.
The 88-year-old Pope has been out of the public eye since March 23 when he gave a short greeting before leaving Rome's Gemelli Hospital after over 5 weeks of treatment for the most serious health issue of his 12-year papacy. The Vatican has not yet said if the Pope will be able to lead the celebrations for Easter on April 20. Eraserheads frontman Eli Buendia announces that Marcos Adoro will not be joining the band's upcoming music festival due to sexual abuse allegations against the guitarist. Buendia says in a post, quote, "We acknowledge the recent allegations that have surfaced online. As proponents of justice, we unequivocally condemn all criminal acts and stand against abuse of any form. Above all, we seek the truth." He then adds that Adoro is working to address the issue and will step back from a, quote, "upcoming project, likely the Eraserheads Electric Fun Music Festival on May 31. In late March, a Reddit user accused Adoro of rape when the person was still in high school and that he also raped countless other women. However, this is not the first time Adoro faced grave abuse allegations. In 2019, his daughter, singer-songwriter Siddhartha, spoke up about the abuse she experienced. In 2022, when the band announced the reunion concert, fans called for Adoro to be excluded from the show. As of this posting, Adoro has yet to issue a statement. And that's today's wrap. I'm Kara Oliver. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. Follow us on Rappler's YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok.